All right. I think we're live, Scott.
Office hours. Today is the day. Woohoo! So we
Hello,
are
hello.
here, and Ryan is not.
We are.
Ryan
We're
is
taking over.
at the annual meeting of the Association of American Medical Colleges, along with a number of other people from medical school headquarters. And
Yep.
Dina is there with them, Enrique is there, and Petros, and
Carlos, I think,
yeah,
too.
Carlos is there.
Like
Yeah.
half our team is there.
Yeah, yeah. How did we miss out on this? I don't
Right?
need to check on that.
Yeah.
Not that I would have wanted to have gone, but anyway.
I used to go all the
Oh, I
time.
did too, but it was, it's so expensive. Number one, it's just
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
I mean, it's ridiculous how expensive it is to go to this thing.
It yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway.
And and when I went strictly for medical education and curriculum. So I wouldn't mind going and doing some of the stuff they're doing in terms of the meetings because I feel like it's more applicable. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
But
fun.
I got to go visit some great cities. You and I probably went at various similar times because I
Yeah,
started
I
going in
bet.
2014.
Yeah, I bet.
Um, I've gone to Boston, I've gone to
Yeah,
what,
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yep. Yep.
Chicago was
Washington.
great because when we arrived, our hotel was full. And so they had to like take us to a different like sister hotel away from the conference, even though we had a room booked.
Oh my
They
goodness.
took us and they brought us back and they put us in like the presidential suite for that
Oh,
weekend.
oh, hello.
They brought us wine and cheese. I mean, Chicago was the best one we've ever gone to
All
because the
right.
hotel had to make up for like not having our room. And I was like, we had like a 2 or 3 bedroom hotel room.
That's awesome. I love that.
The president of the AAMC was literally our neighbor. It was pretty awesome.
So you want to introduce yourself?
I do. I am Crispen, and I used to be the director of admissions at UC Irvine. I used to work at the Keck School of Medicine at USC, which is where I get to do all the fun traveling. And I was an admissions committee member on the Keck admissions committee for, gosh, 5 or 6 years. And so screened and voted, interviewed, did all those things. I've worked with post-bac students. So I've been in this world for a very long time.
Yeah.
And now I'm an admissions advisor with MSHQ.
Yeah. Excellent. And I am Dr. Wright. I'm Scott, and I'm here from, I'm calling in from deep East Texas. If you probably tell from my accent. And I'm happy to be here with everybody. And so we're going to answer some questions for you guys
All
today.
right.
So hopefully you're putting questions in the boxes so we can answer them. So good.
Yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I mean, I think we were just talking about this morning, Scott. I think this time of the year is the worst time of the year
The
for
worst.
applicants.
Yeah,
Um,
I
the
agree.
stress is high because those who have interviews, and then for those who are still waiting, the number one question, of course, is it too late? Should I reapply? All that good stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
I think this first question is kind of similar to that.
yeah.
Let's see what we got. So I have four. So this is blue dash H2F. I have 4 interviews so far, but no acceptances, rejections yet. If I need to reapply, how likely is it I would be offered interviews at the same schools? Would you get rejected after or if you get rejected after an interview, is it over? Scott?
Wow, that's a heavy question. My first thought about this blue is you're getting way too ahead of yourself here.
100%.
Way too ahead of yourself here. You need to slow down, slow yourself down. You know, things happen slowly and but they do happen. And so you have to just kind of, and this is what we were just talking about, you guys want to do something to help the process go, and there's nothing you can do. You have to just wait. Now,
Mhm.
what I would say, Blue, is that um, you've had 4 interviews. That's awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of time left for offers to be made. You don't know kind of the process at the various schools where you've interviewed. So I would just say, now to your other questions, it is not unusual to get an interview at the same school. I've had a number of applicants who have not gotten in. Now, typically they were on the waiting list before and
Mhm.
weren't, outright rejected from an interview. So there's that caveat to that. But I would say, you just slow yourself down and try to relax a little bit and just let the process happen. And there's going to be plenty of time to think about the next steps if that's necessary.
And you had the 4 interviews, so no acceptances, rejections yet. That just means maybe they haven't made a decision about your application.
Right. Hmm.
Um, they there's time. So, yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Dara Lee Scott 53. Oh, whoa. Not sure what happened there.
Oh, what happened? Oh, there we
I
go.
don't know. I haven't received any interviews thus far. I know the cycle's not over, but should I start to mentally prepare for rejection emails or keep the faith? I'm going to say first off, I think no matter how many interviews you've had, no matter what your stats are, how good you are, you should always mentally prepare for rejection emails because they're going to happen.
Yep.
Rejection, you apply to 20, 30, or God help you more schools, you're going to be rejected. And so you should always mentally prepare for some rejections because that's just how this situation is. But you should also keep the faith.
Yep.
I personally think you should always be thinking about your next cycle. Again, no matter how good you are, things happen. So I like to think that you're still involved with clinical work, you're still doing your service, you're still doing all the things that make you a good applicant. Just keep doing those because if you have to reapply, get your application assessed, talk with somebody, see what happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, keep the faith, Darlie. It's a rough time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Keep the faith for various reasons. One is for your own self, just mental health reasons. Keep the faith.
Yeah. Yep. I have a feeling this day is going to be a trend of these questions. Here's the
Yeah.
next one.
Oh, should I be
uh,
concerned? I haven't received any interviews, but still sending secondaries to schools for MD and DO. My friend told me that Thanksgiving rule of interviews and reapplying. Well, I have two comments about this Bamboo or Chloe or whatever your name is. Um, one thing I would say is I'm a little concerned that you're still sending secondaries.
Me
This is
too.
very late for sending secondaries. Now, if you
100%.
just got them, then okay, that's fine. But if you've had them for a while and you're sitting on them or it's delayed or whatever, that's not a good sign. So I would say that's my first concern. So you have the same concern, Christine?
100%. I mean, so if you're just getting them and you applied within what we would consider to be the optimal timeline, then that's one thing. But if you applied super late, were verified super late, and you're just getting them and sending them in, the reason you don't have any interviews is very likely that you haven't been reviewed yet.
Mhm.
And that's because you're late. So should you be concerned? You should be concerned about the timing of your application more so than the veracity of your application, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm. I
Um,
I
and I
agree.
think a general rule of thumb of Thanksgiving, you should start kind of putting it into your mind around Thanksgiving about reapplying. But I've had students last year, I've had students through my prior job who got interviews in December, January, February, and March.
Yep.
So again, I think for all of you, the message is going to be you should always think about reapplying while still keeping the faith.
Mhm. I agree with that.
But Chloe, your timing is concerning to me. I'm not sure what your timing is, but that, if of nothing else, that's probably the reason why you're getting not a lot of interviews. All right. Michael, assuming I do get an interview, I'm concerned about a question that asks me to say why physician other than PA, NP without putting down other professions or saying they're not as good. We get a lot, I mean, we talk a lot about why medicine. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Mhm. Yeah. So here's my thought particularly in an interview, Michael, is that what I a lot of times what I hear is here's my starting point from when I started wanting to be a doctor. And then I did all this stuff. I volunteered and I shadowed and I did all this stuff. Therefore, I want to be a doctor. Now that is not a good plan of action to me. What I want to hear is here's the starting point. I did all this stuff. Therefore, here are the things about medicine that I'm attracted to: the leadership of it, the teamwork of it, the the excitement of it, the intellectual, curiosity part of it. There could be a lot of different reasons why you would want to go into medicine. That's the why medicine. It's not I did all this stuff, therefore medicine. That's incomplete. So put your effort into really understanding what are the things about medicine that really draw you in. Is it the relationships? Is it, what is it that really makes your heart sing? That's what I want to know about.
I think for me, I only think about why not PA, MP, whatever, whatever, when you can't articulate why you want to be a doctor. If you can't really demonstrate through your experiences, kind of like what you just said, if there's a question because you're like, oh, I just want to help people, or if it's a very surface level answer, then I will push back and ask about other professions because I'm like, you can do any of that with this answer. So tell me, what is it about being a physician that's right for you? And I think to Scott's point, Michael, if you have a good articulated answer that really focuses on why your goal is to be a physician, I don't feel like they're going to really push back on why not the other professions because you've demonstrated it already. Scott, I feel like this is your question.
Uh-oh. How should we know if we should apply to Texas schools? I'd love to live in Texas, but I'm an out-of-state student. Would it be worth it to apply? Well, Alexandria, this is a great question. And what I will say is about this is that the Texas schools, 90% of the classes at the Texas schools have to be residents of Texas. Now, there are people who move to Texas to establish residency so that they can apply as a resident. That takes about a year to do that before you apply, not during the application cycle, but before you apply. So you would move to the state, work for a year, then you could apply as a Texas resident. So that is possible to do that. If you're going to be thinking about applying as a non-resident, then what I would say is your MCAT score needs to be pretty high. That's the real differentiator for non-residents is the MCAT score. The GPA may be slightly higher for non-residents in terms of averages, but the MCAT score is a huge differentiator. There are some schools in Texas that the average non-resident MCAT score is in the 520s. And so it's very tough as a non-resident to get a place in Texas. It's not impossible if you're a strong applicant, but I'm saying that there have to be really, really, I mean, stellar things in the application, and then that MCAT score needs to be pretty high.
So almost, Alexandria, it seems you would want to move to Texas, get established there, live there, and then apply. I mean, that might be something you consider for your gap years.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. All right. My student was invited to a second interview now with the assistant director of admissions. The MSAR stats are in their range. Advice what to say, what not to say, consider it positive, or consider it clarification of a problem.
Oh, I bet this is
I
that. I yeah,
yeah, I think so too.
that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I I don't know. First and foremost, I don't know if you can assume it's a clarification of a problem.
Right.
I think they may have had some additional questions based on your application, the interview reports, and they felt they liked you enough that they want to get that clarification. I would consider it a positive. Scott, I know
Mhm.
you chimed in on this one too,
Yeah, I definitely think it's positive. If there had been a problem, it would have been just a lot easier and a lot
to
less
say no.
to just reject you. So
Yep,
I think
I
the
agree.
fact that they've reached out again and want at the second meeting, I would just see it as positive. I don't think there's any
100%.
advice outside of what I would give to any other interviewee, which is just be yourself, be honest, authentic with all your answers, and that's all you can do. And you know,
Yeah. I mean, in terms of what to say or what not to say, that interviewer is going to drive that. The assistant director of admissions, they probably know the questions they want to ask
yeah,
that are probably pertaining to whatever it is they want clarification on. So they're just going to have to answer the questions authentically. Be excited by the fact that you did not get an outright rejection. So
yeah.
there's something there. They're not good. They don't invite, that's not a common thing. At least I don't think I've ever really seen that unless there was a problem with the interview in terms of the interviewer wasn't very good.
hmm
Um, but
Or,
yeah,
or
I would consider
or
it positive.
what we had talked about also was, sometimes there could be inter
Oh,
inter
inter-rater reliability.
Generator reliability, right? So what I mean by that is one interviewer said stellar things, and the other interviewer was like, or whatever. There was some differentiation between the two that they wanted to
Hmm.
solve. So it could be something like that. But again,
Yeah,
if it just I think it's really important for Michael to view it as a positive. I think this is
100%.
100% positive thing. Yeah.
Because when we used to have the now I can't say it either, inter-rater issues where one liked and one didn't like, I used to review the applications and made my own decision to
Mm,
see if I could understand what the concern was or what the positive was.
yeah.
And very rarely in that level of discrepancy did we call someone back. So again, even if there was a reliability issue like that, they liked you enough to call you back.
Yeah. That's right.
So
Yeah. So good
cool.
luck, Michael.
Yeah, good luck to your student. Let
Yeah.
us know how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. If we've been out of college for 4 to 5 years, should we still list activities that were significant in college or are they too old? I mean, one, I hope you've done activities since college that you're going to list on your application. But two, if they are significant and you still think that they're relevant to your motivation and your drive to be a physician, I think they probably should be listed. But I would expect to see things that are more current as well.
Yeah. I think it would be a mixture, probably.
Hmm.
Some
Hmm.
stuff from before and some stuff since.
Same thing with letters in a lot of
Mhm.
ways.
Yeah. Now
Awesome.
that
Good luck,
letters
Nikki.
letters is where you're going to be real problematic sometimes for students like this, because you can't, if I tried to go back 4 or 5 years out of college, I wouldn't have been able to get any letters. Nobody would have known
I
what
wouldn't even know who to ask.
now. So, uh, so
Agreed.
that can be problematic. So what I would say about that is, most medical schools understand that about people who are that non-traditional, and
Hmm.
get employer letters, and hopefully you've done some more recent coursework that you can get a letter from.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Let's see. Should I be worried if I only received one MD interview invite so far? I'm a Canadian applicant. My current interview is from a top 5. I've received 2 pre-interview rejections thus far. I mean, I'll be very frank. As a Canadian applicant, the fact that you have one interview is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
I think there's a lot of tightening of that. I've seen a lot of schools this year stop accepting students out of the country. So honestly, I'm
Hmm.
not sure how to say Harneet, Chima. I would just be happy and take it and go from there. Do your best on that interview. Assume that's the only one you're going to get and kill it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Um, all right. Peter Ibrahim. In my gap year as a nursing assistant and want to boost my app. I have 2 years of cancer research and can't decide between a postbac research or staying my job while doing per diem oncology research. These questions are hard to give too much information on. I feel like, Peter, to me, I don't know about Scott, but I feel like there's some gaps here.
Hmm.
Um, you have 2 years of research already, so that's great. If you want to do more research in a post-bac, I mean, that's potentially fine, but I am definitely of a mindset that clinical outranks
Yes,
research.
100%.
So I would worry, I guess, if you quit clinical work to go do research only, that I would wonder why you wanted to be a physician and not a researcher.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so that's my thought is,
I agree with you, Christine. I think the staying in your job as a nursing assistant and then maybe doing some research on the side, that sounds like a more appropriate approach to it to me. So,
mhm, yeah. Um, oh, Bamboo Chloe, she had a follow-up, I think based on our question. She said that some of her secondaries are a mix of late and some are still applying to more schools since she wanted to catch the wide net because her stats, but I don't want to cause more delay on new secondaries. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have interviews and you're applying late and various things, then you have to wait until they get to you. That's just how
yeah,
that works.
that's right. That's right. That's why we always say apply early.
Bye early. Samia Rashid. My son has 10 interviews but hasn't received any acceptances. 517 MCAT, 395 GPA, had interview prep with Dr. Wright.
Oh, okay.
S- I mean, 10 interviews is fantastic. Um, Many schools, I don't know if people realize this. I know October 15th is when schools are allowed to start offering acceptances, but depending on where you interviewed, many schools
Yes.
don't even do acceptances until November, December, January, February, and March.
Spring. Yeah. Yeah. I
They interview a larger pool. Go ahead, Scott. What are you thinking?
I totally agree with you. I think that it depends. A lot of depends on the school and their internal process. And so,
Yeah.
I think you can't. It's too early to make any judgment about what's going to happen or what may need to happen next. I mean, 10 interviews is amazing. That is
It's
a great
fantastic.
number of interviews. So, congratulations, number one, on that. And I think you just have to kind of sit and wait, and
Hmm.
there's nothing to replace that.
I worked with a student that I worked with at Chapman. He had like 22 interviews this year,
Wow.
and he's only gotten a few acceptances because so many of them don't offer early admission.
Right. Right.
And you may have just had interviews at the ones that
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
doesn't give out answers. I mean, the fact
Yeah.
that if he doesn't have rejections just means they haven't given an answer yet.
Yep. Yep.
So good luck to your son though. I really
Yeah.
say they should be proud
Yeah.
of that number.
He
That's
should be great. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that.
Let's see. Blue. How important are fall semester grade updates? If you have a good GPA and it dips a little, is it a big concern?
Well, could be
Scott?
depending on how big the dip is. I mean, you know, uh, I can't imagine the dip was too severe. I mean, if
Right.
it was, then that if it was severe enough for somebody to notice it, then that yes, it could be
Right.
problematic.
But if your GPA is hovering in a reasonably good place, 3.7, 3.8, and maybe you got a 3.5 or a 3.6, is that the end of the world? Nah.
Yeah,
If you got a semester full of C's, that might be a problem.
yeah, could be.
All right. Hey, a different kind of a question. Jackie Lynn, can you please explain how to go about the LOR process? I am applying in the spring, but wondering if I can ask for my LORs now and store them in Interfolio. How do I how do I then get said letters to my application in the spring? I like this question better than some of the other ones we've
Yeah,
got.
this is a nuts and bolts question. I like that.
Yeah. All
Well,
right.
the first thing I would say, Jackie, or Jackie Lynn, whatever you go by, um, is that I would not ask. I would not ask for the letter yet. Now, if you want to ask them if they will write a letter for you, then that's fine. But you don't want to get the letter until the spring. You don't want to get the letter until it has a spring 2026 date on it. And there's also quite a bit of time between now and let's say March or so when you would want to start getting those letters. So I would say just kind of relax a little bit and kind of hold off on the letters. You can let your letter writers know that you're going to be asking them in the spring, but beyond that, I would say that's all you need to do.
100%. And then from Interfolio to the application, there's a way that you go in when your application opens, you go in and they'll talk you through it. It's a pretty straightforward process.
Mhm.
The most important thing is really you keep your hands off the letters once they go to Interfolio, or if you wait until spring, you can have them sent directly to the schools, and there's ways you can do that as well. But the schools tell you how to do that, or the application systems tell you how to do all that.
Yeah.
All right. McKay A. Hopkins. Is there a minimum number of hours that something should be to list on the app? Is something that was 25 hours insignificant okay to list, or does that seem insignificant since it was very few hours? I don't know. I don't know if there's ever a minimum number of hours. I think if it was significant to you and it was only 25 hours, maybe. I mean, I think people do week-long types of events that maybe it's only 25 to 40 hours or something that may be significant. I don't know if I have enough information to give a great answer for this. I don't know about you, Scott. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say is that I'm always much more about the narrative than I am about the hours necessarily.
Yeah,
So
I
if
agree.
it's a low number of hours, it's really all going to depend on how you talk about it and the reflection that you have in what you say is going to be the proof to the pudding of whether it was significant or not. So because I've seen low hour things on people's applications, and it was very clear from their narrative that this was a very significant thing, and it made all the sense in the world. I've also seen people that have umpteen thousand hours doing something and can't seem to say a word about it of any significance at all. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Scott, what is your thought on like an experience like this 25 hours one as a most meaningful? Do you have
Mm,
concerns about that?
I would have concerns about that.
So would I.
Yeah,
That's why I asked you.
yeah. I think that would be a little. I would say
I would
I would
question it.
I'd question the judgment of making that a most meaningful
Hmm.
thing. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's okay to have it on the app and
yeah.
have a great narrative, but I don't know that it would be a most meaningful. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
All right. I grew up in Washington my whole life and have been living in California for undergrad. I have a job here and file taxes here. I assume here is California. I go back to visit Washington 2 times a year. Would I be considered a California or a Washington resident? I think you have to go by what the laws are for each school to be considered a resident.
That's right.
Each school would consider you to be a resident. I
Hmm.
mean, you live here, you pay taxes here. If you have a driver's license, I mean, you have to look to see what qualifies you as a resident on the application. I don't think we have the ability to wave a wand and answer that.
That's right. You just need to check with what the California rules are, and
Mhm.
that's what's going to dictate whether you're. My guess is that
You're a
you're
California resident.
probably a California resident, but
That's my thought too.
you know,
But the good news is you can, if you are a California resident, it seems like you have strong enough ties to Washington
to apply.
that
Well, yeah,
you can still apply to Washington. So,
yeah, because
and potentially be
it is
considered.
quite possible in terms of legally, it's possible to be a resident of two different states.
Yeah,
Now, you don't want to claim, you want to be careful when you're claiming those residencies and stuff like that, because you don't want to be seen as trying to work the system or game the system in any way.
right.
But it's possible, that you could still be considered a Washington resident also, simply because of the ties that you have there in terms of their
Yeah,
definition of what it means to be a resident for
right.
application process purposes.
Yeah, I have a couple students who have applied to Washington or Oregon, and like I had one student who grew up in Washington and didn't pass, and she came to to California for school, and she didn't qualify, quote unquote, as a Washington resident to get secondaries for, I think, UW. I
Mhm.
have another student who has ties, and they seem fairly, I was shocked, and they got an interview at Oregon. And Oregon's another one that has really significant ties, and they've never lived in Oregon, but they have grandparents or something who live there. So each school is going to kind of determine the application side of that. But in terms of a state residency, in terms of tuition or whatever, they're going to have to determine that. But I'm guessing you're a California resident as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say so.
If I got rejected from a school after sending a letter of intent, am I now able to send a new one to another school? Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for your ethics, by the way, because there are a lot of students who send the same letter to every school, the same intent letter to every school. So you're being ethical. So thank you.
Yeah. Pay it. I don't, Scott, do you think it's too early for letters of intent? I kind of
Um,
do. I think interviews are still coming out.
yeah, it's probably a little bit too early. I would say wait till the spring is kind of what my feeling would
At
be.
least the new year. I
Yeah.
mean, unless you know, I don't know. I feel like a letter of intent, as we're kind of alluding to, is I call it a promise ring. I mean, it's a little bit more than just
Yeah.
I'm still interested. There's a little more weight to it. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's a little early.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I like good news. I'm the guy who applied to 50 plus schools. God, I feel so sorry for all the writing you did.
I know.
Accepted to an Ivy. Congratulations. I can't
Yeah.
thank you all enough for putting the info out there for free.
Oh, well, hooray for you.
Yeah.
If Ryan was here, he would have his little applause button. And
Hands and waves. So we'll
yeah,
do that for you. Congratulations.
that's
I,
wonderful.
accepted to an Ivy or accepted anywhere. I don't know about you, but the reason I love what I do is I love to share in that excitement with
Yeah,
students. It doesn't matter to me where they get accepted. When I feel like we've helped a student achieve their dream of becoming a doctor, that's like
that's right.
so significant. That's why we do this day in and day out.
I agree. Um,
Congratulations.
yeah, that's wonderful.
How much does an update really help? It sounds completely overhyped to me. Have you guys seen an update letter really move the needle? Daniel. You know, I think it's going to be school specific, to be perfectly frank. I think for some schools, it's not going to touch them and it's not going to matter. I think for others, it's totally going to make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And on the off chance that your letter hits the right desk on the right time on the right day and it moves them enough to look at your application and give you a shot, wouldn't it be worth it?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think, I think an update letter is worth it even if it doesn't move the needle.
Hmm.
I think you do it because it could move the needle. And if there's a possibility, then why not? I mean,
Yeah. The only thing that I will say, and I say this every time, is don't let your crazy out before they accept you. Make sure that it's appropriate, that you don't go over the top, that it's a legitimate update, that you
mm,
express your interests, you're polite. It's kind of concise, short, sweet, to the point, and do your best to not just tell me, I don't care what you did as much as tell me what the impact of it is and why you did it. It's the same idea as writing your experiences in your application. It's not just the what, it's the why. What's the impact? What's the meaning behind it? And if
mm,
there's a way that you can connect it to the school and their mission and who they are, all the better.
mhm,
So there may be like general idea for many schools, but you also really want to take your time to individualize that letter to each school,
yeah,
because that's what's going to, if it's going to move the needle, it's going to be because you were able to thread that needle and let them see why you're a good fit for them and why this experience continues to make you a good fit for them. Can we share some of the most impressive applications we've come across while working in admissions? Scott, do you have an example?
oh my gosh. Yes, I do. Um, this is some number of years ago, but this was an applicant who um, was in the military and um, was being deployed. She was a in the Navy. She was a pilot in the Navy.
Mm.
So when we interviewed her, we had to do it over the phone because we couldn't. Uh, she couldn't come in. She was deployed, so she couldn't come in. But her deployment was going to end in time to go to medical school anyway. And so, but the most notable thing about it was the interviewer. One of the interviewers. I was sitting in the room with the interviewer, and one of the interviewers asked, "Does the thought of going to medical school make you nervous?" Was the question. And she delayed answering it for a few seconds, and then she said, "No, it does not make me nervous." And then she said, "Let me explain why. What makes me nervous is landing a $3 billion plane on a
Aircraft
on a
carrier.
football field at night in the rain. That makes me nervous." Most brilliant answer ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I have interviewed a lot of great candidates, but I don't necessarily remember the good ones because I remember the bad ones.
Yeah.
But I will say what stands out to me in terms of what's impressive is the story. Like, I love the ones, I don't care about the high stat people. I really don't, by the way. I like the ones who have struggled a little bit, who have had to really demonstrate resilience and adversity and life, and they've overcome it.
Mhm.
And they really are like, their road has been so much more difficult than it should have been, and yet they're still sitting here having worked their tail off and come
Mhm.
through.
Mhm. I agree.
And this could be people who are first generation, people who have lost family members, on and on, jobs. It doesn't it's there's so many things. So I think what I love about applications and reading them is I don't always remember all the details because I feel like I've read too many to get all that. But the ones that the feeling I get when I can remember saying, "I love this person.
Yeah.
I want them so badly, I can't stand
Yeah.
it." And I've had several of those, but the thing that stands out about each of those is their story has been amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know about their stats, and I could care less about their stats. It's just because they had a story that stood out to me.
I agree. A compelling story. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, the experiences are the experiences. The story is the secret sauce. You guys bringing your emotion, care, and authenticity is what makes it good.
Mhm. Yep, I agree.
All right. My personal statement has two main anecdotes. God, we're already in personal statements. Main anecdotes from my experiences in MA. I'm studying to be a medical assistant. I think my reflection is solid. Is it a poem that I only talk about one experience in my personal statement? Oh, so your single experience as a medical assistant, but you have two anecdotes from that experience.
Ah, I would say that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Depends a little bit on how you talk about it, but I'm
Yeah.
a little concerned that there's no more experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if your experiences in MA has been your primary clinical experience over pretty much the duration of your pre-med journey, and maybe that's fine. But I agree. I wonder if you have other experiences that you could pull something from. I'm wondering
Yeah,
it may be worth it to consider it.
yeah, I agree. Even, I would say even I don't often suggest shadowing experiences, being in the personal statement at that level, but that might be a possibility here too. Even if it was a shadowing experience that you had something really notable that you saw or that you experienced during that shadowing event, um,
Mhm.
it could be something like that. But I would say try to think of something. That would be my suggestion.
I suggest I'm okay with shadowing as kind of an initial confirming, like you've seen something or you kind of talk about it, or even an affirming event, but I don't want everything. I like to see, as long as there's a legitimate impact. I think sometimes I allow for it, but I agree. I think you might want to think about just
Hmm.
adding something.
Hmm.
All right. Jessica has a question about learning more about how to get assistance regarding the non-traditional pathway to med school. Um, Jessica, we have options for a consult,
Hmm.
or you can schedule a 30-minute appointment. I will find the link and post it in the chat. So I'll throw up another question. I'll let Scott take the question, and I'll find the link and put it in there, Jessica, for you.
Yeah, and here's on the bottom there is our
Ah,
website
there you
address.
go.
Yeah. Oh, I
Scott
did
figured it out.
it.
Go to medicalschoolhq.net, Jessica, and then you can do a consult or you can schedule a 30-minute call with any of us to talk about your situation.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
See, that's the stuff I don't know how to do. All right. Hunter, with a stronger applicant pool and more qualified reapplicant seat cycle, is it becoming harder to get into MD programs? What trends do you see and how can I best stay competitive moving forward? Is it getting harder? I think it's always been extraordinarily difficult. Um, I think personally, you best stay competitive by doing by staying current, by continuing to demonstrate your motivation. You continue clinical. You are a person who is of service. You are able to write that application and be reflective.
Mhm.
Scott, you mentioned earlier that you have a person who's worked umpteen thousand hours and they can't talk about or reflect on that experience. I've had that experience as well, where they've worked as a medical assistant or a nursing assistant or as a scribe or as a whatever. for multiple years. And if I ask them to talk to me about a clinical, like an anecdote or what that's meaningful to them, and they cannot do it, I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing all this time. And so, Hunter, in my opinion, a lot of it's going to come through your reflection and your engagement with your experiences, how you craft your narrative based on those experiences. When I say the story is the secret sauce, I'm not kidding you. You have to think about these experiences, why they're meaningful to you, what has been the impact, and how you've shaped it. I think trends, personally, I think service is still becoming more and more important along with clinical work.
Mhm. Agree with that.
So, yeah. But I think in general, it's just hard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
yeah. Exactly.
this is the worst. Good luck on your patients at Marvin 8907. It's
Yeah.
rough. I
Yeah.
can't.
It's tough. It is tough to. The waiting is the worst.
Yeah. If a student is currently enrolled in a master's program that will not be completed until midsummer, what is your thought on applying in June before it's finished? Your master's GPA is 4.0 over multiple semesters. I think it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem.
Yep. Um, all right. Great. Another question. What
Yeah.
schools typically let you know about potential aid offered? If I have two acceptances, should I pay the deposit to both if that info isn't shared until next year to better compare cost of attendance? Oh,
This is an interesting one. I think that they're not going to let you know anything about aid until well into the spring, mid spring. Uh,
mm,
so I don't, so, and the problem is it depends on where you have been accepted because some schools, their deposit is very high and
DO schools.
they're non-refundable.
Yeah.
And so if you're willing to spend several $1,000s that you can just not have anymore, then sure you can do that. But I think the more wise way to go about it is go into it assuming you're going to pay sticker price for medical school.
The other thing that I would do is look at their financial page or their financial aid page and look at the budgets, see what the cost of attendance is,
Hmm.
and look and see if they give you any general information about how much aid might be typically offered to an incoming student. Like if they seem to be one that offers aid to 50% of the class or something. I mean, you can only do
Hmm.
the information and the research that's on their website.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I agree with Scott, those deposits are expensive.
Yeah,
And
especially with
if
VA schools.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And if financial aid is an impact for you, and it clearly seems like it might be, you have to determine if it's worth it to put a non-refundable multiple figure deposit down that includes commas before the decimal point, and is it worth it? I mean, we can't answer that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, and
so
exactly.
that
Yeah.
yeah. And a newer MD seems like a gamble either way. I don't know about the newer MD.
Being a gamble, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't I mean, I think being at a newer MD school um, can be very exciting. I mean, it energizes you to feel like you can like be a part of establishing traditions
Yep.
and
I
you know
agree.
you know there's a lot of really interesting cool stuff with new MD schools and so I'm not sure I would agree that it's a gamble to go to a newer MD school.
And they're not allowed to even offer admissions information until they have jumped the initial accreditation hoops.
That's right.
And as someone who has gone through the LCME accreditation a couple of times, that's not a small feat. So they're not just like throwing up a building and opening their doors. They've jumped through some early hoops
Yeah.
to be able to even offer interviews and acceptances. So yes, there's a few new schools coming up, but they've done some legwork coming in. So yeah. Oh, a gamble to who might provide aid. Newer schools sometimes will offer uh, a lot more aid because
They want the students. Yep.
they want the students to come in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can I send a committee letter and individual letters on AMCAS from those that helped contribute to that committee letter? I mean, you can. I don't know why you would.
Yeah, I don't know why you would either.
A lot of times the committee letter sends all the letters in the packet, and so they'll get those letters with the committee letter that they can reference on their own.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know about you, Scott. I've had students this year who have had committee letters that were not being sent until super late, where the committee is just holding their letter until August or September. And so I have talked to students about whether they want to submit the committee letter or go with the individual letters, but that's the only conversation I've had about doing both. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So I have lived in California my whole life and I've been very grateful to get a few interviews from NYC schools. Would the fact that I've only lived in California cause hesitancy to offer acceptance? I don't think so.
No.
California's greatest export is a medical student. I don't know if you know that. As a
Exactly.
California resident, I know this.
That's right.
So you're just exporting. You're one of our exports. Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't. Marvin or whatever your name is.
Marvin.
I wouldn't say that would be a significant impact on their process.
Mm-mm. I mean, honestly, I can remember back in the day, Scott, I'm sure you can remember this too, is when we used to get the report that let us know where our accepted students have also been accepted.
Yes.
And so we would see students accepted to Texas or their state school or whatever. But we had already accepted to them, so it
Right.
didn't really matter.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
Since I'll be a few years out of school when I apply, so 3 years out, how do programs handle science LORs for applicants not recently in coursework? Are there schools that waive this, and what's the best strategy? Hunter, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. You have to look, I think schools handle it independently of each other, so you just have to look and see.
Yeah.
I would say if they don't have any like special dispensation for students who have been out for a certain number of years, I would contact them and ask them directly
Yeah, I
and
would.
just tell them you've been out of school for 3 years at this point in time. You don't have these science letters, but you do have A, B, and C as alternatives. Would they accept that? I would do it in writing via email. So then if something comes up, you have a response in email, especially if they approve different letters. Keep all that.
Yep, I agree with that.
So,
Cool.
all right. Well, that was the last question
Yeah.
that's been posted.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, everybody, that we do this pre-med office hours every week on Wednesdays at noon Central Time.
10 a.m. Pacific time.
And so if we're always here. Somebody's always here. Usually Ryan, and then two or three of us, of the other advisors. And so just keep that in mind. But then also keep in mind that we're available in several different ways. One, through Map Chat. If you're a pro member of Mapped, then you have the ability to talk to the advisors through Mapped Chat. We can answer questions through that. But then obviously we also do advising. And so if you have questions that are beyond that and want to schedule a time with us, go to the website and you can do that. We're very happy. We do all kinds of different things. And so you can choose which advisor you want to meet with. And that sounds great.
And I don't know about you, but I'm biased, and I think there's not a bad choice of an advisor.
I agree.
So
I agree.
pick the one that works with your time, because I think everyone here, I think all of us, we do a great job. And I think what makes us stand out is we try to be very honest and open, but do it with a compassionate focus to make
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
you know, your successes is our successes. Like I said, I love hearing all the fun, exciting things.
I agree. I agree.
All right.
Well,
Well,
any last
thanks,
words, Christine, for our little?
our little crew.
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue. This is extremely difficult time for many of you who have had the interviews or haven't gotten an interview, which is even worse. Um, it is not the end of your options. I think, just be a little more patient. Begin thinking about the next steps, but also keep some faith. That's going to be my parting words for the next couple of months.
I agree. I agree.
How about you, Scott?
Well said. Well said. I completely agree.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Even
Yeah.
without Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.